Hey, what is going on, guys? This is SMEB Reviews, and today we are taking a look at the debut EP from Grandson titled A Modern Tragedy Volume 1. Let's get to it. Grandson is this alternative artist that really takes a blend of rock and alternative sounds and blends it with more hip-hop sounds. And honestly, it's a really interesting sound and one that I can hear some similar elements, but he definitely makes the style his own, and I really do enjoy it. I believe I discovered him right at the beginning of 2018. I believe that means he probably had like 3 or 4 singles out. So I caught on to him relatively early in his actual like releasing career, although I do believe he's been around since 2016. At least he had a single come out then. And I was really intrigued because this is a very interesting style of music. And then we get an EP, and while it's only 5 songs, I am really happy with it. 3 of them are new, and 2 were already released as singles, and it's a really good EP. This is the year that Grandson really has started to gain some traction, especially with Overdose, I believe the second single he put out this year, and the first from this EP, as well as he's now been featured on 2 Mike Shinoda songs, I believe, off the recent release, and honestly, it's really awesome to see because he is so interesting as an artist, and he has some good commentary. What did we get on this EP? A lot of just both outwardly and inwardly commentary. We get things that focus on politics, such as Stick Up, as well as ones that are focusing personally either on himself or just on a general personal problem, such as Overdose, which obviously he has not overdosed because he's not dead, but it focuses on more inward problem of using drugs to numb pain until that pain comes back and needing more drugs until eventually that cycle kills you. And it's really dark and gritty and scary, honestly. And he uses such good imagery in his words and just in the way that he crafts a song that really makes you feel that darkness, that depression that is felt when someone is at that point in their life. And it's such a wonderfully dark song, but I love it. But 6 O'Clock is an excellent example of outwardly focus. It focuses on how the news will show so much brutality and destruction on just the 6 o'clock news that we become desensitized, and so we're used to seeing, such as he references here, like police brutality just on TV and just turning our blind eye to it. And that's just incredibly he's very poignant in his wording, and like I said, the music just crafts a perfect soundscape. It wouldn't work the same and have the same draw and effect if this was a bright, happy song. And it just really tugs at that this is what's wrong. And while I think there's lots of ways to do protest songs, this is an excellent example of just saying this is wrong in the world, because it really does. I mean, honestly, while obviously I've thought about it before, that's not the thing, that's not in a list of things that I feel are wrong with the world in general. That is not at the top, and it really makes me think about it more, and that's coming from someone who's actually very involved in politics and very interested in politics. It's just not at the top of my priorities when we have other issues in the world, and it's just, he really does make this a talking point in this song. And I have yet to even talk about the best song, Stick Up, which works on so many levels. It's talking about a veteran who comes home from the war and has a job but gets fired from it. And now he can't provide for his family, and he can't even afford his PTSD medicine, which causes him to act irrationally, and then it could verge into lots of different paths. He could literally be sticking up a bank to help get money in a bad economic time where he didn't have the compensation he needed, and he may just be literally robbing a bank for his money. He could be talking about gun violence where he's taking out his aggression on just a group of people because he doesn't have that PTSD medicine to help him, as well as just trying to comprehend the problems that he's having. And even it could just be him metaphorically sticking up Congress saying, please, I need this money, you've got to get it somehow. And there's lots of ways it could be taken on a lot of different levels. And it's truly a great song because it's not just talking about one issue. I could see this being a song talking about veterans deserving more compensation after their service, about bad economic time, about gun violence. It could be about so many things, about mental health. It could be a lot of different things that he's talking about. And it's not just a partisan look at things either. Obviously, I try to keep my reviews very unbiased, and I think that that's important. While everyone does have bias, I think that political bias is something that I try to keep out of my reviews. And this song's excellent because a lot of people from each side of the parties can agree that these are problems. It's just how you fix them is what a lot of people will disagree on. But regardless, a lot of people agree, whether Republicans agree gun violence is a problem or something, they do agree that veterans should get more compensation for their work. And so it's an excellent example of just, these are just problems in the world. They're not things that are partisan problems. And while there's lots of different ways they could be fixed, he's really drawing attention to them with this dark, gritty, and extremely well-written song. As you can see, I'm a huge fan of this album, and while I really have minimal problems with it, Despicable is probably the least interesting track, just because it's not really making any kind of commentary. It's mainly just, it's talking about depression and how a lot of people with depression might feel as though they're not worthy, and so they're trying to do other people a favor by removing themselves from that person's life. And it's a fine song, but lyrically it's just not quite as interesting. If this was any other artist, this would be a pretty good song, but when I just went on this huge 2-minute rant about how good Stick Up is, this song is just not quite as interesting, but that's not to say it's bad by any means. It's just not quite as good, in my opinion. And since I've talked about the other four, we might as well talk about the last song, Blood, Water, which is a fine song. Again, it's not quite as good as the other three, in my opinion, but it still really is good. Honestly, the lyrics are just what's not quite as good. I think that the vocal delivery and the style and the music is very interesting and fun. It's intriguing, I guess would be a much better word. And it's just talking about political corruption and greed, and it's an interesting song. I do like it. It's just, again, not quite as good as the three that I had mentioned, obviously not including Despicable. Ultimately, I believe Grandson is doing something incredibly unique. He's making this very interesting music, and he doesn't have the best vocals, but they're very interesting, and he makes such dark and gritty music with such poignant lyrics that talk about such nonpartisan issues that everyone can agree are problems, and really shines a light on them. And I love this EP. It really is one of the best things I've heard all year, and I just really, really do enjoy this. I'm going to give this EP a 9 out of 10. I want to give it more, but Despicable and Bloodwater are just fine, especially Despicable. It's not bad, but it's just not that great. And with only 5 tracks, that definitely does hold back the album when 2 of the 5 are good at best. So I still do really like this. This is one of the best things that I've heard, and seriously, Stick Up is the best song on this thing. Regardless, is so good, and I think that Granson's doing such an interesting thing with his music. So yeah, a 9 out of 10 is well deserved. Thank you guys so much for watching. What did you guys think of this album? Please let me know. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts, because I really am interested in this artist and really do like the style and the music that he creates. It's really good, so please let me know. Besides that, can I do anything to improve the quality of my videos or any upcoming albums you'd like me to check out? Also, I've got a new Twitter where I post about either albums I didn't review that I'd give a quick little thought on it, or I'll just talk about something random. I recently got on a little rant about how good the year 2012 was for hit music, and honestly, check it out. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching this video, especially for a smaller artist. I really appreciate it. Besides that, thank you guys so much. I'll see you later.